Hey everyone, my name is Radikwa. As far as most of you seen some of my videos on YouTube, I was coming on here because I think some of you have already heard about Pat Robertson, who's a televangelist who's on the 700 Club, which is a Christian news channel. And they just basically match up the news and just show how news is matching up with Bible prophecy and stuff like that. So recently, I think it was like about a week ago, it's been all over the news. So I'm quite sure some of you heard of it. But for those that did not, I want to put this out there, that he had said that God told him that Trump will win the election. And then soon after that, there'll be civil unrest. And then there'll be an asteroid, I think, that he said is going to be hitting. And he says many more things. It's like 12 minutes long. And I'm going to show you guys this video. But I wanted to first say, when you do watch this video, first, I'm going to let you know that he does talk about the tribulation period. There's certain people that are pre-tribbers. There's certain people that are mid or they are post. This is not to bring no beef with that. Nobody's trying to argue. Nobody's trying to state one is wrong or one is better than the other. That's what Pat Robertson believes. Everyone has their own beliefs. I have mine, but I don't argue with people about it. So he talks about that. If you disagree with that, fine. I'm just putting this out there because we know the elections are coming up. And a lot of people are saying that, which is crazy that he says something about civil unrest, because I had dreams, as even my husband had dreams, that there was going to be a major civil unrest, that there was a civil unrest, but we didn't understand why. Like I said, it was like 4 or 5 years ago when we had dreams of civil unrest. We didn't understand why. And now that all this, this CV-19 pandemic is going on and all this stuff is going on and everything's been shut down and now it's close to election. It's just so much going on at one time that people are trying to piece together what's really going on. That's one. And then for having Pat Robertson to say this and other people, David Coverstone said that, around this time, because I think he said October, November, and December is going to be a time like never before. So, but one thing I will say, which we should take with a grain of salt, is that we know that the word says that if somebody prophesies and something does not come to pass, we have to know that it wasn't sent from God, because Pat Robertson is saying that this was sent from God. God told him that Trump was going to win. After he wins, there was going to be major civil unrest and other things that he's going to say, which I'm going to show you guys. So we know if it does not come to pass, we know that it wasn't sent from God. So I'm saying that. And so we always have to test the spirits of who they're coming from, even when it comes to dreams. There are times that we get dreams and we immediately think it's from God, because even the devil came as an angel of light. So we have to know that just because we get dreams, we have to be willing to pray to God and ask him, is this dream sent from you? Because there are, like I said, there's so many times that people get dreams and they think it's sent from God and it's not from him. Because the enemy knows how to disguise himself and make him seem like it's from God. Most of half of the time when it's sent from God, he backs it up with his word and he'll give you confirmation. So another time, just wait for the confirmation. I'm putting this out because, like I said, it's right before the election. And I really want to see if what he was saying is going to come to pass. So I'm going to play the video. I would love for you guys to tell me what you guys think about it, for those that don't know about it. And we could discuss this because there's so many things that's about to happen. The election is coming. I do feel like it's going to be a civil unrest, whether Biden or Trump wins, because there's going to be people that are Trump supporters that's going to be trying to fight because they feel like, oh, well, Trump didn't win. And then there's going to be other people that's for Biden. I just feel like it's going to be a big uproar, to the point that I think I know Philadelphia, they had gotten locked down and they're on, they have a curfew to 9:00. And I even heard on the news that for Texas, they sent troops out, or like over 1,000 troops to be sent out in Texas to get ready for the civil unrest that might ensue after the election or during the election, for all we know. So we don't know how bad this election thing is going to be or what's going to happen. But we do know we have to prepare for it and just be ready for whatever. Prayerfully, y'all don't have to travel. We don't know what and how bad it's going to be. But I just pray that, first of all, we should just pray regardless. But I just pray that whatever's going to happen, we are prepared. So I'm going to show this video and I'm going to get off of here. So excuse me for my technology. I'm just taking my tripod and just showing you the video. Hopefully you guys can hear it. It's going to be I'm going to be showing it on my laptop. So let me know what you guys think, and let's get prepared for this election and whatever else is coming. Just give me 1 second.
Here goes. I want to share with you. I was praying on Sunday saying, God, please tell me how it's going to happen. And I hope I've got the word. But first of all, I want to say without question, Trump is going to win the election. And that doesn't mean you sit home and don't vote. That means you get out and do everything you can to work. But he's going to win. That's, I think, a given. But after he is sworn in, and his vice president is Mike Pence, then trouble is going to happen. He's going to be challenged by the Chinese, as you couldn't believe. Will be faced probably with some kind of a war. The North Koreans are going to have nuclear weapons. They're going to threaten us. The Russians are going to do everything they can. The Turks have got their things going. And after Trump is sworn in, we're going to see civic disobedience in our America that will just be mind-boggling. The country will be torn apart. But you talk about Trump derangement syndrome, it's going to be horrible. Because already, without anything happening, we've got trouble in the streets. But there will be at least 2 attempts on the president's life. And it's going to be very difficult. So I would just urge you, if you should pray for him. But now in the process that this confusion is happening in America, and it looks like our country is being torn apart, the fulfillment will take place of Ezekiel 38's prophecy. And here's what it says. It says, therefore, son of man, prophesy and say to God, this is what the sovereign Lord says, in that day, when my people Israel are living in safety, will you not take notice of it? And you will come from your place to the far north, and many nations with you, all of them riding on horses, a great horde, a mighty army. You'll advance against my people Israel like a cloud that covers the land. In days to come, God, I will bring you against my land, that the nations may know me when I am proved holy through you before their eyes. Now, that's going to be next. You're going to have Trump win. You're going to have civic discourse. You're going to have at least 2 attempts on the life of the president. And, you just pray as to what's going to happen in relation to that. But this country's going to be torn apart. And it will be the opportunity for Erdogan and Iran to come together against Israel. And that's what Ezekiel says is going to happen, that there's going to be this tremendous horde. Now, who's going to be involved in coming against it is going to be the Muslim communities on the border of Russia. And Azerbaijan is just one of them. They're already trying to kill the Christians in Armenia. And so you're looking at the possibility, and there they are. But in addition, you've got Iran that hates Israel, and they want to destroy Israel. You have some of the other countries, North Yemen, and there are a few nations in North Sudan that are Muslim, and they hate Israel. And that whole coalition is going to come together. And they're going to say, because America is so occupied, we are therefore going to invade Israel. It's going to be our opportunity to crush and destroy Israel. And so there's going to be a tremendous war against Israel. But the Bible says God himself is going to defend Israel. And he's going to wipe out that horde. It's not going to be a nuclear war, but God himself is going to wipe out that horde of people that are coming against Israel. Now, what's going to happen next? I mean, you say, all right, you got that's the next thing that's going to happen is that God is going to bring a period of great peace. And here's what Isaiah has to say. It's the second chapter. In the last days, the mountain of the Lord's temple will be established, and the highest of the mountains. It will be exalted above the hills, and all nations will stream to it. Many peoples will come and say, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, of the temple of the God of Jacob. He will teach us his way so that we may walk in his paths. The law will go out from Zion, the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. He will judge between nations and will settle disputes for many people. And they will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nations will not take up sword against nation, nor will they train for war anymore. And what are we going to have after this invasion of Israel and is put down by God? There's going to be a remarkable time of peace. We'll have at least 5 years or more of extraordinary peace, where the dictators of the earth are restrained, where those who want to fight war are not going to be allowed to do it. And we say the word will go forth from Jerusalem, but I think it'll also be the Christians who are the defenders of Zion, and they will be teaching the word all over the world. There'll be a great revival, one of the greatest spiritual revivals that the world has ever known. And that's the time of peace and love. But during that time, or right after that time, the dictators of the earth are going to be restrained by God. And so they'll be held in check. This isn't the second coming. It's just the way it's going to work. There's going to be a great move of God. And you read, the apostles came after the day of Pentecost, and they said, this is prophesied by the prophet Joel. In the latter days, I'll pour my spirit upon all flesh. Well, that's going to happen in our day. We're going to see a great turning to God of the nations of the earth after this battle, where God himself is going to defend Israel. Okay, now what comes next? Because it's going to be nice, and we're all going to be living at peace. But Paul wrote to the Thessalonians, he said, for you know very well that the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night. While people are saying peace and safety, destruction will come on them suddenly as labor pains on a pregnant woman, and they will not escape. So when that time of peace comes on, and when it's all coming to an end, it's a few years, then there's going to be a great tribulation. And people have just misunderstood all this stuff about the tribulation. But Paul said that they're going to say peace and safety, and sudden destruction will come upon them like travail on a woman with child. That you can see the sequence going down. Now, Jesus, what did he have to say? It's found in Matthew 24, 21, 22. For he said, then there will be great distress unequaled from the beginning of the world until now, and never to be equal today. And in those days had not been cut short, no one would survive. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be shortened. Now, what is he saying? I want to emphasize that. He says, if those days wouldn't be shortened, there wouldn't be one human being alive on the face of the earth. I mean, that's what he says. I mean, there'll be no flesh will remain. So this is the tribulation that people are talking about, and it's going to be terrible. And Paul said sudden destruction is going to come upon you. And what I think, very frankly, is that the only thing that will fulfill what the word of Jesus, that I'm going to give you in a minute, is some kind of an asteroid strike on the globe. It's sudden destruction. There's not going to be some nuclear war. We're not going to be allowed to blow this earth up. But an asteroid coming down, I wrote one called The End of the Age, and it was an asteroid that was about 1 kilometer, about 0.6 of a mile, weighed about 3 billion pounds, came hurtling down, and that would pretty much fulfill what Jesus, because he said. And let's look again at 24 of Matthew. He said, immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. And then will appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and all the peoples of the earth will mourn when they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds from one end of the heaven to the other. Now, that tribulation is going to be so bad that unless it was shortened, nobody would be alive, and the sun will be darkened. Well, what will darken the sun? Well, if an asteroid hits the earth, there will be a cloud of dust thrown into the atmosphere, and you won't be able to see the sun or the moon. It'll be hard to move on that. And there'll be times if there's some antichrist or something like that, there's to be a time from that if that's what's going to happen. But the man of sin to be revealed. But that's what it's saying. And it doesn't say you're going to get raptured ahead of it. It doesn't say that at all. It said immediately after the tribulation, then the Lord's going to send his angels to gather his elect from the four corners of the earth. And it will happen after. So you read the Bible, it's very clear. It's not mystery. It's clear.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, if we knew this before, giving this word, but also what a time to pray. I mean, we live in a day that is
like we've never seen before. But again, I want to relate to you again. There's going to be a war. Ezekiel 38 is going to be the next thing down the line. Then a time of peace. Then maybe the end. But nobody knows the day or the hour when the Lord's going to come back. He said the angels don't know it. And only the Father knows it. So I'm not saying this is the second coming, but I am saying there are things that people have thought would be during a millennial time with the coming of Jesus that are going to happen in our lifetime. And the next thing is the election that's coming up in just a few weeks, at which time, according to what I believe the Lord told me, the president is going to be reelected. I'm saying by all means, get out and vote for whoever you want to vote for, but by all means, let your voice be heard. But it's going to lead to civil unrest of a great proportion, then a war against Israel, and so forth and so on. So as Terry said, I think it's time to pray. But ladies and gentlemen, that's the word. You ask what's going to happen next, that's what's going to happen next.
You know, I think of the book that